Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope we are all doing very, very well. Welcome to another live show the morning after Chelsea beat Newcastle 2-1 in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge. And I'll tell you what, we've got plenty of talking points for this one. Obviously, I came from Greece. And we're starting to get that congestion, aren't we? We're starting to get those fixtures piling up. Our Saturday, Thursday, or Sunday, Thursdays, and then we've got Wednesday. We're going away to Newcastle. We're playing them again. So in this live, we're going to break down everything to do with the match we saw yesterday, as well as talking about all of the players and any of the latest news as well. So big up to everyone that is watching on YouTube and also Twitter as well. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Please do. It helps massively. Let's see if we can get up to 25 likes straight away. Smash the like button. And without further ado, let's get straight into this. Now, listen, for me personally, I look at what I saw against Newcastle. For the most part, I think we can be quite happy with what we saw. I don't think anyone expected a basketball game. I don't think people expected, Newcastle to come and be gung-ho. Although they probably pressed a little bit more than I expected anyway. But what I expected before the game started, I said to myself, right, Newcastle probably going to sit a little bit deeper, a bit like what we saw when we played Liverpool. And what we're going to see is a moment of magic, hopefully, that gets us through this match. And we had a couple of moments, but the main moment, we've got to talk about it straight away. Cole Palmer. Oh, my goodness. This guy. It's no joke when we say Cole Palmer's name, and I know it's not going to be the case this year, but next year, if he keeps going the way he's going, Cole Palmer will win the Ballon d'Or. This is no joke. This guy, the pass that he made to lay the ball off for Pedro Neto was inside his own half. I think he was closer to his own box than he was to the halfway line. Gives the ball to Pedro Neto with a lovely through ball. I don't even think he was looking when he passed it. And I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. Pedro Neto got past one of the Newcastle defenders on a plate for Nicholas Jackson. Absolutely fantastic. And can we just give Nicholas Jackson some praise as well? Because I actually thought the finish was very comfortable. And I was sat next to Don in that game. And Don was telling me, he locked his foot. And I went, what do you mean he locked his foot? I don't play football, I just watch it. And Don was going, he's not been soft with it. He's when you lock your foot, you kind of keep it where it is, and it just guides the ball where you need it to go. And I said, well, listen, if that's what locking your foot does, can I have some more of that, please? Because that was absolutely fantastic. I want to big up everyone in the chat as well. I hope you're doing well, Kabir. Reading FC fans. Okay. Hello, Chelsea. Hope you're doing well. Morning, Andre. I hope you're doing well. Sweet coffee now at work with good vibes. Absolutely. I don't drink coffee, but good vibes nonetheless. Let's talk about what we saw. Because as much as I'd love to speak about how great everyone is in this Chelsea team and how we're pushing for the title, we also have to be realistic and appreciate that we have one or two parts of the team that could certainly improve. And that's putting it mildly in some positions. So let's break it down bit by bit. Let's first of all speak about Enzo Maresca. Listen, it was a hard-fought 90 minutes. And Enzo Maresca was genuinely quite happy with the match, but he did say there were aspects of Chelsea's display that could have been improved. But he was still pleased with his side's effort and the output with and without the ball. He said, and I quote, "I am very happy with the performance today because in some moments on the ball, we were unbelievable. There was some good combinations and the way we prepared for the game was exactly there. Off the ball, they fought together and showed they deserved to win. This is important." The main tweak that we obviously saw was Reece James at left back. And fair play to the man. He competed 90 minutes. I don't think anyone expected Reece James to play in that position. We obviously saw Gusto play on the left side against Liverpool. Why would anything change? But listen, Maresca, he's not wasting any time to try and experiment and find a way to fit his club captain in. And his thoughts on Reece James were like this. He said, we tried to do something different, Maresca explained. We moved Reece to the left side and Cole for the first time this season into the left pocket. The reason was to try and attack down that side, and a bigger reason was to have Malo Gusto in the right pocket. In the end, it worked well. So what he's actually saying is it wasn't just about Reece James and Malo Gusto. Cole Palmer fit into this because we know that Reece James is better on the ball than Malo Gusto. And to be fair, you can see, even with his passes on the left side, the way he spreads the ball, it's so satisfying to watch him, isn't it? I mean, it's just brilliant. But I almost feel like, I don't know, I just reminisce about when he whips those balls in on the right-hand side and he's further up the pitch, like we saw once or twice under Pochettino when he come on against Nottingham Forest, or in the good old days with Tuchel. But I don't think we'll be seeing Reece James doing that under Enzo Maresca. Not because he doesn't want him to be there, because I think we all know that that is where Reece James works best, up the pitch, on the right-hand side, being able to contribute to goals and also get many, many assists, whipping balls in. But I just think that we've got to find a sustainable way to get a good amount of minutes out of Reece James, on top of the fact that we know he can produce in multiple positions. I think this game proves that Reece James is certainly versatile. He can play in different positions. I'd never seen him play as a left back before yesterday. Let me know in the chat if I'm wrong. But we have seen him play in a back three. We've seen him play on the right side as a wing back. We've seen him play as a normal right back as well. So it's nice to know that we've got a player there who can pretty much play anywhere in that back line. Although I don't know if we've seen him play in a back two. We still might have seen that as well, to be fair. But yeah, let me know if I am wrong. But yeah, I mean, listen, it was a very, very tough game towards the end. One of the other quotes that Enzo Maresca said was, the problem is, if you attack quick, you are going to concede a quick attack, and that is not our idea. It's not our football. He said, today with Pedro on one side, Noni on the other, Cole in the pocket, Malo in the pocket, and Nicholas Jackson there. They are also good at making passes and arriving in the last third to create and score goals. Maresca continued, this kind of game is that before you attack, you need to make 15 or 20 passes. If you want to attack with 2 passes, it's a long distance and they can recover the ball and create and cause problems. So the reason I was shouting, calm, 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 make passes is because you make it up. Wait, what? Is because you make it an up and down game. They destroy everything. So what Maresca's saying is he doesn't want a basketball game. He wants. So I know some people like that, especially as a neutral. It is entertaining to watch. But Maresca is not a fan of the basketball games that we saw many times under Poch. If there's another manager that I could probably think of, Frank Lampard, we had quite a few basketball games as well. Maresca is not a fan of that. Also, it's interesting when he was asked about Robert Sanchez, Enzo Maresca's response. And by the way, I thought Sanchez was really, really poor. I wasn't happy with what I saw in terms of the distribution. I think that, to be quite honest with you, Sanchez is a liability. I said in the last stream, listen, maybe we need to give the guy more time, but how many passes did he actually make? If you were to make a comparison and say, right, this is how many passes Robert Sanchez made, this is how many passes he missed, then maybe we could have a conversation. I don't even know the exact stats, but if you watch the game, you certainly know where I'm coming from. I'm sure he made double the mistakes as opposed to passes made. And that's not me sitting here being negative. He's meant to be a goalkeeper that can pass the ball. and he can't pass the ball. This is ridiculous. But anyway, I mean, listen, there's clearly a reason that Maresca is sticking with him. But anyway, this is what Maresca said when he was asked about Robert Sanchez. He said, "It's football, and I'm the guy who asks Robbie to do that when asked about playing out from the back. Robbie is going to do that because the moment he stops, he isn't going to play. If he makes a mistake, it's not Robbie's problem. It's my problem, my mistake, because I asked that of him. I am happy with how Robbie is playing and building from the back. All the goal kicks we had where he passed to Pedro and Noni, that kind of ball gave us a chance to attack. Sometimes you make a mistake, but it's not going to change the way we play. I am happy with how Robbie is playing and building from the back." What? What are you talking about, Enzo? Robbie isn't playing out the back. That's why we're. Oh my God! There you go. There's my one of my first big qualms with Enzo Maresca, and I think a lot of other people agree with me. If you keep playing this guy, and you've got a competent goalkeeper already, who's just not playing in the Premier League, then I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you because, as Brian CFC says, Sanchez ain't it, bruv. I'm with you there. I am with you. But let's not say he's totally crap, because actually he makes some great saves, doesn't he? He makes some fantastic saves. He saved us at Bournemouth. He was the reason we got points in that game. I remember when we lost at home to City in the first game of the season, I thought Sanchez had an exceptional game. As a goalkeeper, you're paid to make saves. And you look at Pope at Newcastle, for example, the Newcastle goalkeeper. He can't pass the ball with his feet either. He's actually much worse technically than Robert Sanchez. But for some reason, he doesn't make me uncomfortable. Like if I was a Newcastle fan, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable when Pope's on the ball because he doesn't do something stupid. Yeah. Sometimes as a goalkeeper, you're entitled to have moments. Nobody is saying that you can't make mistakes. Every goalkeeper makes mistakes. And when you are asked to play a certain brand of football, passing out from the back, you have to make mistakes because you do so many passes that are very intricate. We've got to be very, very careful. But for me, Robert Sanchez, when we pass it short, I feel like the passes are too soft. I feel like they're misplaced. I don't feel like he's helping his defenders or his midfielders when they drop in. When he passes on the wings and he goes a little bit deeper, I don't feel like his passes are low enough. I feel like they're too loopy at times. I don't think Madueke won a single ball that Robert Sanchez tried to pass to him in that game yesterday. I think Pedro Neto won one or two. And then when he goes up the pitch, I just don't understand what he's doing. I don't understand where he's aiming. What is the point of this? But yeah, I mean, Kabir, you make a good point as well. Sanchez has used his 9 lives. I still haven't forgotten him for that Arsenal draw last year. Well, I think, honestly, to be honest with you, I think we almost have to have a clean slate when we look at last season and this season. What the goalkeepers were asked to do last season is different. Yeah. And I think that actually Pochettino gives players so much freedom that at times you feel like, listen, you just need to give them a little bit more direction. If the ball is here, what should I do? If it's here, what should I do? Etc. And Maresca certainly does that. And you can see clear patterns of play. The problem is I just don't see a goalkeeper who's competent enough to produce what is being asked of him. I mean, Maresca's literally saying, it's football, and I'm the guy who asks Robert Sanchez to play out from the back. He's going to do that because the moment he stops, he isn't going to play. Like, what about you just play the goalkeeper who's capable of doing that? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure, guys. Anyway, let's continue. That is Enzo Maresca's thoughts, at least, on what he's seen. Yeah, so very interesting looking at what he said. And yeah, I mean, do you agree with what he's saying, guys? I mean, we all love Enzo Maresca. I can absolutely say I'm a big fan, but I don't agree with what he's saying about Robert Sanchez. I mean, that's just his philosophy, isn't it? But it's also a bit silly. If you are playing a goalkeeper who's not capable of doing what is being asked of him, then that is something I will never understand. I just can't get my head around it. I can't get my head around it at all, because you literally had a keeper last season who wasn't great with his feet, but he didn't fuck up. He didn't do that last year, Petrovic. He wasn't an idiot. He wasn't. And I think Robert Sanchez at times, it just makes you grit your teeth and go, oh my goodness, what are we working with here at this football club? And why did you bring in Jorgensen to play in the Carabao Cup? No. I'm sure he was bought to replace Robert Sanchez. I'm sure he was. The recruitment team probably looked at what Poch was working with and thought, you know what, listen, irrespective of which manager we bring in, we need someone else because we can't count on this guy. And Maresca's just, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Yeah, for me, that's a big thumbs down, playing Maresca. I needed to see that game to reaffirm what a lot of other people have said, because I think I was slightly behind on this one, thinking, listen, give the guy a little bit more time. But it's not because he can't save. It's actually his saving's great. He's a good goalkeeper. His distribution is got to be up there with the worst I've seen. It's horrendous. It's horrendous. Anyway, let's go back on what we were saying with regards to the players. Yeah. So if we look at the stats in this game, I'll share my screen with you guys. You can see very, very clearly that possession was actually fairly equal in this game. 50-50 to be exact. So Newcastle, although they didn't look to press as high as I thought they would, they were a little bit more aggressive than what I expected, and still looking to come up and create and make things happen. In terms of shots, we had 7 on target to their 3, 6 off target to their 5. We had 1 big chance compared to their 2. So what that tells me in this game is actually we've done very, very well to get the points. It was quite an evenly contested match. But we didn't create the big chance. It was actually Newcastle that did it. So for me, I think if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be very, very let down. I'd feel like we should have got at least a point out of this game. The chance at the end with Isak, I mean, he's got to square it to Longstaff or at least shoot. I mean, he didn't even shoot in the end. I know that it's difficult because you've got to get past the keeper and everything like that, but he practically had an open goal at one point. So for me, yeah, Isak should have done better. He did score, but you've got to do better than that. Arguably one of the best strikers in the league. He only got 1 goal. He should have had 2 for me. But yeah, passing accuracy was a little bit more on our side, which makes sense because we pass out from the back a little bit more so than Newcastle. And then the blocks were relatively even as well. So yeah, again, it kind of reaffirms what we've been saying. We knew that Newcastle were going to make it difficult for us, but we also knew that we just have more quality than them. I mean, this is not rocket science here. We are a better team than Newcastle. Not to say they don't have threats, because they certainly do, and we'll break down those threats as well. What I want to try and do is get out the I'm going to get up the players, and then we can talk about who we saw player by player. So I think we've already touched on Robert Sanchez, so I'm not going to speak too much more on him. So let's talk a little bit more about this man on the left-hand side, Reece James. Listen, Enzo Maresca come out criticising him, his leadership. Reece James needs to do more. If you're a leader, I expect more from you than anyone else. And to be fair, I don't think we can really disagree with that, as much as we love Reece, especially if you're injured. This also, if you are not available on the pitch, is your voice being heard in the dressing room? How else are you contributing to this team? And I don't think that Reece James is a particularly vocal guy. I think we all know that. He's quite quiet. He's quite reserved. Now, that doesn't really strike me as a captain in that sense. Now, there are strikers out there. There are captains out there. I remember Harry Kane when I watched the All or Nothing Tottenham documentary with Jose Mourinho. Ooh, pardon me. I remember Jose Mourinho talking about Harry Kane and how he's a silent leader. And maybe Reece James is that, but I don't think Enzo Maresca wants a silent leader, to be quite frank. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come out and criticise Reece James, which is fair enough. As a manager, you're supposed to say what you want, and if the players can offer that to you, then, well, they're more likely to be a part of your plans. Fasal says James was brilliant yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. I think James was very good. Owen says James in left back, he's a natural right back. What do you think? Well, I think that it might have been a challenge from Maresca, and that's probably why he called him out before. It was like a little mental. I think he was playing mind games almost. You know how managers say things to try and amp players up for certain moments so they'll perform. We all thought, okay, this is leadership, but he'll definitely play on the right. And he's ended up playing on the left-hand side. So, I mean, I don't have any complaints of how he played yesterday. But what I will say is I don't want to see that consistently. I don't want to see Reece James playing on the left as a regular thing. I think that we've got Cucurella, who's been fantastic. Top 3 left backs in the league. I think you probably argue Andy Robertson at Liverpool and maybe Gvardiol at Man City are the only 2 that have performed better over a slightly longer period of time as well. And also Vega, who's top notch. Like he's come in, he's nobody knew who he was, and he's performed. So I can't look at a player like Reece James and expect him to start over those 2 players who are natural left backs and both invert very, very well. Like Vega inverts well in the midfield. Cucurella, that's just become his role since last season under Pochettino. So I don't really want to see a good thing come and then go, well, we're going to change that again. That doesn't make much sense. That doesn't make much sense to me. I would rather see Cucurella as a left back personally, and then rotate James with gusto. Yeah, because I want us to take care of Reece James, and if we're putting him in that role and then dropping 2 of our other players who have been performing, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like. I think we could get more out of Reece James on the right hand side and still keep it sustainable. But on the left, he's not forced to run up and down. So maybe that's part of the thinking. Maresca also said he put Cole in the pocket on the left-hand side. So maybe that's one of the reasons he wanted Reece James there, was to give him a little bit of support, because he is a great passer of the ball and he doesn't struggle to find players. Forget a short ball, he can spread the play, he can do everything. So I think that's probably one thing James does have over Cucurella. He's a better passer of the ball. We can all agree with that. Yeah, he's a European champion as well. He deserves all the respect in the world. But yeah, very happy with what I saw from Reece James. But I just want to highlight again, I don't want to see that every week. I think if we see that every week, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. I don't understand why we would need to when we have other natural left backs who, to be quite frank, like they've been performing very, very well. So I don't think we need to change much there. Anyway, on to the next player. Listen, guys, next to Reece James in this game, we had none other than Levi Colwill, the man, the myth. What a guy, what a player. Enzo Maresca coming out as well and saying this guy is one of the natural leaders. If you've watched some of the other streams that I've spoken on here, I did say when I visited Cobham, I spoke to all of the players. Levi Colwill was by far, now as someone who doesn't speak to the players regularly, I think that you can tell a leader by the way they speak to fans. I think that the way that people interact with fans is a huge sign of how much of a real character they are and what qualities they possess in that sense. For me, Levi Colwill was by far the best player who interacted with the fans when I went to visit Cobham. And yeah, it just seems like a great character. Every time you watch him, whether he's having an interview, he's a down-to-earth guy, he's a nice person, but also he's aggressive on the pitch. So those are the qualities you want. For me, he is turning and will turn into one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. There is no dispute as to why Liverpool have been so interested in this guy over the years. It's because he's very good at what he does. He's a fantastic ball-playing centre-back. But listen, he does have his moments defensively. I completely agree with what some of you are saying in the chat. He almost costed us a penalty yesterday when he fouled Guimaraes. I'm with you there for Sal. And this is the one thing that he has to take out of his game is some of those rash challenges. If he can take that out of his game, then that will take him to the next level. Also, guys, we have to appreciate that we are no longer with Thiago Silva. So that role that Silva used to have is now being asked of Levi Colwill in the middle to defend as well as he has been, orchestrate everything around him, but also be able to play out from the back and still, keep things well in possession. So there's an awful lot that's being asked of all of our centre backs at the club. It's certainly not an easy role to play, especially when you're playing out from the back every time. I mean, I'm no football player, but I play five-a-side. And me personally, if someone's pressing my goalkeeper and I'm a centre-back, which I am when I play, not very much, but every now and again, I don't want the keeper passing to me because I'm thinking, shit, man, I'm gonna lose the ball. So I say to the keeper, get it up there. That's not an option in that's not an option in Maresca ball. So it's certainly a system that he's getting used to, but I think he's adapted very well. And thank God he's playing in his proper position because we can really judge Levi Colwill as a centre-back, which is what he's always been. I never understood why we played him as a left-back under Poch. And that's one of the things that I will absolutely agree with from last season. I mean, I did like a lot of what Pochettino did, but I didn't like that. I thought that was terrible. I never understood that. And, Chilwell on the wing, like I never understood them. But yeah, Colwill for me, I thought he was okay. It's just rash moments. If you can get rid of one or two moments in a game, you've got a top player. But you don't see those moments consistently from Van Dijk. You don't see them from John Stones at Man City and all these other big players. So if we can get that with Levi Colwill, I think we'll be, in good stead. What I will say is that it's not easy for anyone when the goalkeeper behind you is not competent. And I think that we can all agree that it's very hard for the defenders. In fact, forget the defenders. It's not good for any of the players on the pitch when the goalkeeper isn't competent. Robert Sanchez needs to do better at passing the ball out from the back. He also needs to do better at hoofing the ball up and passing to the wings. So in every stage, as a defender, oh my goodness, we're going to pass short again. What is Sanchez going to do this time? Like, I totally empathize with what these guys are going through because I saw Palmer at times going, bloody hell, what was that? There was a moment when Robert Sanchez kicked the ball to Madueke, who was on the line. Yeah, so if he would have gone any further back, he would have been off the pitch and the ball would have been off the pitch as well. It went over Madueke's head. He jumped up to try and get it. And Sanchez said to Madueke, he said, move further away. If he went any further away, Sanchez, he would be in the stands sitting in the West Lower. So I'm totally with the defenders to an extent. We have to appreciate that. Listen, these guys are doing the best that they can, but also they're in a little bit of a sticky one. They are in a bit of a sticky situation because Robert Sanchez does not make their life easy. But as I said, I agree with what you guys are saying as well. Colwill needs to cut those parts of his game out, those silly rash fouls. And I do think that will make a big, big difference. Now, there's one other player that I have been very critical of. And oh my goodness, when this man went down in the first half, or I think it was the first half, to be fair, when he went down towards the beginning of the game for Fofana, I went, you bastard. I swear to God, if this man gets injured again, I am going to lose it. Because as you all know, I've been calling for Tosin to start more, to which I was humbled when he had a pretty poor game against Liverpool. But I don't think Fofana was great. I think he was all right. I always pick Levi Colwill over Fofana. Levi Colwill, for me, I close my eyes and I find a way to fit him on that team sheet. I love Colwill. You can see what he does every week and how integral he is to the way we want to play. With Fofana, to be totally honest with you, I think he's very much replaceable. I think he'd be easily replaced. I think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player. I don't want people to sit here and think that I hate Fofana. I don't hate Fofana, but I don't think he's great. When I look at the back line, especially what I saw yesterday, Fofana for me is still the weakest link in there. Yeah, he's just not been consistent for Chelsea, has he? Let's be honest, he's not been consistent. And that goes in a lot of different ways because people go, well, he's been injured. Well, if the guy's been injured, don't chuck him straight in the deep end if you don't trust him. Reece James is clearly capable of coming straight into the team and performing. So why can't Fofana if he's such a top player? Which brings me to my point. I don't think he is. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a top player. First of all, top players don't make the type of mistakes that he makes on the basis that he does. Yeah, he doesn't. They don't do it. They don't do it. Second of all, top players, generally speaking, and Reece James is probably not the greatest player to make this argument with, they stay fit. They don't get injured all the time. How can you build a team around a player who is constantly injured? He's never available. And then when he is available and doesn't perform, you make the excuse that you just come back from injury anyway. Let's try and find a balance here, guys. I'm all for giving players praise, and Fofana deserves praise at moments. There's good parts to his game. I like how aggressive he is. I think he's good in the air. One of the few threats that we have from set pieces. Yeah. Jordan says Fofana wasn't really great, and it is really impossible to replace him. And if he's back from injury, don't take the risk to chuck him in the squad. But it's not impossible to replace him. Why is it impossible? What's so difficult about just put another centre back in there? Now, I don't think Disas is the answer. I'm certainly not saying Disas is the answer. I don't think he suits the system at all. I pick Fofana over Disasi. I'd probably pick Fofana over Badiashile as well, because you want Colwill to play on the left side, and Badiashile's a left-sided centre back as well. But I'd give Tosin more of a chance. Like, okay, Tosin didn't have a great game against Liverpool, but Fofana didn't have a great game yesterday. Does that mean you should still keep picking the guy every week? I don't know. Listen, if you're going to play players on form, which is what we've been seeing in other positions, why should it be any different in the back line? You want your centre-backs to have a certain cohesion. You want them to have a good relationship. The back line is probably the most important position in terms of having all the players playing together, getting to know each other. But also you need quality in there. And I'm sorry, just because Fofana knows how to speak to Colwill and they've played together a few times, that doesn't mean he should be guaranteed to start. Jordan says he would have put Tosin in the squad yesterday. I mean, I would have argued for it. It's certainly an argument that you can make. But I did think that Fofana would start, but I thought he'd play better as well. I actually thought we would get a clean sheet because Newcastle haven't actually scored many goals this season. But yeah, we let ourselves down. We really, really did. What did Fofana do wrong yesterday? If you watch the highlights, the second goal that Newcastle should have scored, but didn't score, Fofana was one of the players that made the mistake to give the ball away initially. On top of that, it's just, to be honest with you, mate, a lot of the time, what did he do? Let me ask you that. What did he do well? I reverse the question. I'm not saying he was terrible. He wasn't great, though. He wasn't great. Levi Colwill wasn't great either. But he was probably better than Fofana, in my opinion. Yeah, so I would probably look at replacing Fofana. I mean, you've got to find someone who's, you know, cost effective. You don't want to be spending 80 million on another centre-back. Although, listen, who knows? Anything can happen. Faisal says Murillo and Guihu are two warriors. That's certainly an option that we can look at. But yeah, not happy with Fofana, man. Like me personally, you shouldn't build this Chelsea team around him. I've said this since pre-season. This isn't even something that's recent. You should not be building your team around players who are constantly injured. That's why, honestly, if I was a right back before Gusto come in and Chelsea offered me to come in, I know that when Reece James is fit, I'm not starting ahead of Reece James. But I know he's never fit. So, you know, I'm always going to take up on that offer. And I think that it's a similar situation at centre-back, to be fair. If there's a competent centre-back out there who can play next to Colwill, then there is no reason why he can't get into this team. That spot is still very much up for grabs. I think that we can all agree our left-back side is covered. We've got great left-sided players. We've even got a right-back who can play on the left side. Colwill gets on the team sheet every time for me. I love what I see from Gusto. I like Reece James. I think Gusto's been massively overhated this season and deserves more praise. Every player is entitled to a bad game. The problem is when it's every week. That's when it's a problem. But I like what I see from Gusto on that right-hand side. I mean, let's touch on Gusto a little bit. I mean, what do you think in the chat, guys? I mean, are you a fan of what you're seeing from this player? Do you like Gusto? Do you think that he is coming into this new sort of position that he's been asked to play under Enzo Maresca? I have very mixed conversations with people when we speak about Malo Gusto. Very, very mixed conversations. Some people think he's great. I mean, I literally had a guy, one of my friends yesterday, Brendan. I love Gusto. I love Lavia. They are ballers. And then I'll do a call-in show later on, and I'll have people saying Gusto's been an absolute mess this season. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. I mean, let me know in the chat as well. We have over 200 people watching on X. We've got 54 people watching on YouTube. Big up to everyone watching. Can we get up to 50 likes on YouTube, guys? If you haven't already smashed the like button, please do. It helps a lot. Listen, I don't know. Well, does anyone else stream in the morning? Listen, I don't know. But I thought, listen, this is going to become the new thing. Morning streams is the first stream on X as well. I didn't even realize I could do them together. But there you go. Listen, Fasal says he is untouchable. Gusto is a good player. Yeah, you know, I think that for some players, and this is why I give Reece James the benefit of the doubt when he's always injured. And I hate to bring it back to Fofana. I will move on. But what has Fofana done to justify the fact that when he's injured and comes back and doesn't perform to the best of his ability because he's been injured for a long time? Like, what has he done to deserve that patience? Like, was he so good before? Was he so great? Did he really contribute a lot to Chelsea before he was injured? I'll be totally honest, man. And that's why Gusto's entitled to have a bad period as well, because he was so good last season. He was so great, so consistent. To live in to play next to a player like Reece James, and I know he's not as good as Reece James, but the standard, there's not like a huge difference. There is certainly a gap. Reece James is here, Malo Gusto's here. There's certainly a gap. There's a cap on Gusto and what he can do compared to Reece James. But Gusto's reliable as hell, man. And really technical as well. Like, he's still got a lot of technical ability. He's fast. He can run. He can go up the channels. He's willing to invert. I'm not going to say Fofana's a total disgrace for Sal, but, I can understand why people don't like. I just don't think he's all that. But yeah, I like Gusto. And I do believe that people, if you are watching, you've got to give Gusto a little bit of patience. You've got to give him a little bit of patience. You actually deserve more patience when you started off well and then have a dip, because we've literally seen that you can do it over a consistent period of a season. That's fair enough. Like, that's just human. The problem is when you start off and you're all right, you're not great, then you get injured and you come back and you're still not great. But that's not been the case with Gusto. Gusto, for me, is a player that Chelsea will be able to count on for years to come. Another player, just a lovely character. I'll never forget it. Last season when he was injured, I spoke to him. I said, "When are you back?" He said, "I'll be back for the West Ham game." I had everyone messaging me from fantasy football accounts saying, "Where have you got this information? Who's your source?" Gusto is the source. But yeah, I like Gusto. I'm a fan of him, and I think that people need to appreciate a player like him more and more, because when you don't have a player like Gusto, you will notice it, especially when Reece James or a player like that is out injured. Okay, right. We move on to the midfield, people. This is where things get spicy. Let's have a look. Who we're going to talk about first? Let's speak about Romeo Lavia, man like Lavia. What do we think about Romeo Lavia, guys? Are you happy with what you saw against Newcastle? What do you think about this player? Also, there seems to be this battle, if I'm not wrong, between Lavia and Enzo Fernandez for that starting spot. So, who, in your opinion, should be starting? This has been one of the debates that's been going on for weeks. And also, can I just say, listen, because we've got people watching on Twitter, I speak to those of you on Twitter, and I know probably most of you, this have nothing to do with you, but there might be one of you who quote tweeted me saying Enzo Fernandez is not good enough for Chelsea for the reason that Romeo Lavia is better. You all laughed. Well, I've got to say, no, I'm not going to say it. But yeah, Lavia's just better, isn't he? He's better. He's better than Enzo Fernandez. Let's not take the piss. I was right. Not to sit here and shove it in everyone's faces that I was right, but I was right. I said after the Brighton game, Enzo Fernandez doesn't look great. Everyone's going, what? But he did a few good passes. I need more than a few good passes. Does Lavia just do a few good passes? No, he does everything. That's what I want from a midfielder. He distributes the ball well. He holds on to the ball well. He defends well. He makes the players around him better. Don't tell me that Kaiso doesn't look better when he's playing with Romeo Lavia. He looks so much better. And that's because he's not playing with Enzo, because Lavia is doing more dirty work. On top of the fact that he's such an intricate baller. Like Enzo Fernandez, I think we can all agree he's better passer of the ball than Romeo Lavia. I certainly agree with that. You don't think that Enzo deserves to be dropped? Come on, man. Come on, bro. But actually, on that point, I think I know where you're coming from. If you're speaking about Panathinaikos and Greece, I agree with you. Yes, he didn't deserve to be dropped. In fact, I actually said the changes that I would make before this game on the preview. I said that I would play. I said that I would play Enzo next to Kaiso, but I would play Enzo in a deeper role than Kaiso. Because Enzo Fernandez is not versatile. You can't play him in different positions. You have to play him in one position. I know Kaiso is a little bit better in a deeper role, but I still think you can get a lot from him when he's further up the pitch. He's a good passer of the ball. if he presses, he can win the ball high up the pitch. Great at winning 50-50s and an intricate baller as well. So it's not like Caicedo is not capable of, fulfilling that role as an 8 per se, box to box. But I can understand why Enzo Maresca started Lavia. The only problem is now you've got to start Enzo Fernandez away at Newcastle. And I thought that in the away game, that's probably where Newcastle would be looking to attack us more. We would be under more pressure. And that is where I want that stability that Romeo Lavia brings. So I would have probably started Lavia on the Wednesday just to get that stability and play him alongside Dewsbury Hall or something, who I've also quite liked watching this season. I think Dewsbury Hall's done well in the majority of games that he's played. But Maresca decided to start Lavia, and listen, he played very, very well. And there's a reason that he is number 1 over Enzo Fernandez now. It's because he has more qualities. He's just got more qualities. Jordan says, and Romeo Lavia always gives 100% for the team, better than Enzo Fernandez. Lavia is a great baller. To be honest, I was never in doubt that Lavia is going to be better than Enzo. You think it'd be Caicedo and Enzo? Wow. Well, I think it would probably be Enzo and Dewsbury Hall, to be honest with you, mate. But if we play Caicedo again, that's fair enough. But I would like to see Dewsbury Hall, man. I honestly think Dewsbury Hall is in a really tough position because, wow, what great competition in that midfield. But for me, if you were going to play Enzo Fernandez as an 8, there's just a heap of players in line to play in front of him because he's just not good enough in that position. But if you play him as a 6, you will see the best out of Enzo Fernandez. But having said that, I just want to quickly, briefly touch on when Enzo Fernandez did come on for Lavia. That had to happen because Lavia can't play 90 minutes. But let's try and appreciate the fact that Enzo Fernandez is not a defensive midfielder. He's a dictator. He's a ball-playing midfielder. He's like a Jorginho in a way, but he's not as good defensively as Jorginho was. But he can do more on the ball than Jorginho did. So he can spread the play. He can do things like that. Great player to have on your team if you want to break down a low block, dominate possession. And I think that he's certainly got a lot of qualities that Chelsea need to take advantage of. But yeah, not the right player to bring on when you're trying to hold on to a lead. But as I said earlier, we had to do it, didn't we? Because Lavia can't stay on forever. But I love Lavia. Lavia, for me, is the best midfielder in this team when he is fit. I think he's number 1 on the team sheet. And that is a credit to him. And considering the fact, actually, he costs 50% less than Caicedo. And I still think he's better. Although, listen, let's not hate on Caicedo. I love Caicedo. These are thin margins. But yeah, I do think that Lavia is always going to be the first name on that team sheet when he's fit. But I love this man as well. I absolutely love Moise Caicedo. This guy is the man. He is the man. And I tell you what, everyone hating on him when he first joined Chelsea, how good is he now? How good? Oh, he's unbelievable. He's brilliant. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. No words for Caicedo. And he deserves so much credit for how he has conducted himself in a Chelsea shirt. I don't ever want to compare a player to Kante, but I think Caicedo is the closest thing to what we had when we had Kante. He's just brilliant, isn't he? He's such a warrior and a baller. To have all of those qualities embedded in one midfield player, I'll tell you what, we may have paid over 100 million for this guy. But who's talking about the price tag? No one. So that actually tells me that that's been money well spent, which makes me very happy because, yeah, I just like Caicedo. Big up to Charlie, up the minstrels, up the squares as well, up the rectangles. Guys, this is a quick message from myself. We were in the We were in the car on the way to Liverpool. Me and Charlie decided to do some research. If you don't know what squares are, they're like a breakfast bar in the UK. And we decided to see why are they called squares when they're actually rectangles. So, yeah, big up to Charlie, up the minstrels. He is worth every penny, absolutely, for Sal. I'm with you there, man. I'm with you. Deals thinks that the first 30 minutes we controlled the game, I thought Maresca was spot on tactically. Yeah, 100%. We did control the game when we started. There's no doubts about that. But for me, Caicedo is another player. Like, you just can't drop him or Lavia. They are both undroppable. And that makes things very difficult for Enzo Fernandez. So the reason that I would have played Fernandez isn't because I wanted to drop Lavia. It's because I wanted Lavia to play on the Wednesday. And I feel like that was a game we probably needed him a little bit more. But listen, we got the 3 points. Ultimately, you can't argue with 3 points. If we go against Newcastle and win in the cup, I think that's a fantastic result. I do think we're going to struggle. We're going to have a tough time. But listen, big up to Enzo Maresca. Moises Caicedo, this form didn't start this season. It actually started under Maurizio Pochettino. I remember when he scored that unbelievable goal from the halfway line. But he's just grown. He's got better and better and better. And he deserves an awful lot of credit for that. So big up to Caicedo. My midfielder. That's what people say, isn't it? My midfielder. Right. We move on further up the pitch. We've gone through the goalkeeper. We've talked about the defense as well. Let's have a little chat about the wingers. Pedro, not Pedro Porro, not Pedro, the man who used to play for Chelsea, but Pedro Neto. What a player. I spoke with Dazzling Dave when we signed him. And one of the things that surprised me about what Dave did say was... And if you don't know who Dazzling Dave is, he's probably the biggest Wolves fan channel. So he runs Always Wolves Fan TV. So they have great experience, obviously, watching Neto every week. He said to me, he said, listen, you can play Neto on the right, but I actually think he's even better on the left. That's what he said to me. And I agree. I think he is better on the left. He offers a totally different dynamic on that left side to what we see with Jadon Sancho, and he is obviously very different to Mudryk as well. It'd be interesting, though, because personally, as a player, if I was a player, I would want to have a position and just build on that one position. If I'm being switched over to the left, to the right, to the left, on the bench, on the left, on the right, hard to get any rhythm. I mean, you guys play more football than I do probably in the chat. So, I mean, let me know. Do you think I'm overthinking things? Is it bad to rotate a winger as much as we are? Or should he just play in the same position all the time? Because I think if it was Madueke, he'd really struggle on the left. So it must be hard to adapt on those different sides. But Neto's clearly capable of doing it. I'm just thinking, like, from his development, do we just go, right, okay, if Madueke is going to play the majority of the games on the right, should we try and build Neto on the left and have him competing with Sancho and Mudryk? So there's just not as much competition on that right-hand side. Or do you go, listen, if we drop Madueke, we'll always play Neto there, and then you've got Sancho and Mudryk on the left, but if we need Neto on the left side as well, we'll switch things up. Pedro Neto is a real baller. His pace, and he's very direct on the ball. Dills thinks he's better on the right-hand side. Fasal says, Neto is more and more the man we used to see at Wolves. Ascending form. He is getting better and better every single week. Sancho can also play on the right. Yeah, somebody told me the other day, because I didn't watch much of Sancho at Dortmund. Obviously, I saw highlight reels, but he did play on the right side as well. So it'd be interesting. Do you think that we should see Sancho switching on the right-hand side and then more of Neto on the left? Or are we just going on the basis that we're going to be really flexible? And hey, listen, Neto can play on the left, Sanchez can play on the right. Like, let's just see what happens. Whatever happens, happens. We'll play players based on form and how they train. Let's not set things in stone and restrict ourselves. Let's just be open to anything at this point. But yeah, Pedro Neto is really fantastic. I love what I'm seeing from him. I think that he embodies all of the characteristics that you want from a player in a top team. Similar to Palmer, in the sense that he's very humble. He does the work off the ball, and the runs he makes are fantastic. Pedro Neto is the most energetic player in this Chelsea team, probably alongside Cucurella when he's in the squad as well. That energy that guy brings is so contagious. How can you not love him? Everything that Pedro Neto does, you can see that there is a clear intention. Like, for example, sometimes, and I don't want to criticize Madueke here, sometimes there'll be a ball in the air and Madueke could jump for it, he could challenge for it, but he doesn't. Pedro Neto never does that. He's always in the air trying to win the header, always looking to win the 50-50. He's not half-arsing anything. He's given 110% every step of the way. And Deals makes a great point. We've got to use him carefully because his injury record at Wolves was not good. He was injured for large parts of his career at Wolves, which is part of the reason why people might have asked questions about the price we paid for him. I know everyone liked the signing. I mean, I certainly did. But if you look at his injury record, you have to look at it and say, well, if we're going to be smart with this, that's great. But I don't want to risk this guy getting injured because it takes one injury for everything to start going like dominoes. Yeah. We're in a fantastic position where we haven't got a lot of injuries, and I'm so happy about it. But I do think that we have to manage this guy's load. As great as he is, we cannot risk Pedro Neto getting injured. And I don't think Enzo Maresca will, to be fair. I think he's got his head screwed on. I do think that everything about what Maresca's done, you can see a clear intent as well. I'm just trying to figure out Pedro Neto's injury record. If we go on transfer market, I just want to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, guys, because if you look at his record, where can I actually see his injury record? If I went season by season, all right, let's go from last season, for example. What was his injury record like then? Yeah. So he started the season all right, got injured. He's injured for large periods of last season, yeah? And this is when, and this is probably why. I mean, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 77 minutes before he obviously got injured. And then he comes straight back into the fold. Presumably they try and rush him back. Couple of 90-minute games, and then he gets injured again with the same hamstring. So that was just last season. So I do think that we've got to manage Pedro Neto's workload. But at the same time, you've got to play your best players, haven't you? But let's be smart with it. Let's be intelligent. But absolutely, I think we're all in agreement that Pedro Neto is the man of the moment, and he deserves all of the praise that he is being given. It is totally deserved. So let's move on to the other side with Madueke, who I thought would be dropped for this game because Pedro Neto presumably was going to start on the right side, but we ended up dropping Jadon Sancho instead. What do we think about Madueke, guys? Madueke for me was a very interesting one. I'd love to know what you think in the chat. Let's see what SofaScore says. I'm interested to see what SofaScore said about this one. What was Madueke's SofaScore rating? against Newcastle. 7.2. Oh, so it's pretty good. I don't really know what I think about Madueke. I like Madueke, but 7.2. Is that right? Am I looking at the right thing here? That seems like a really good rating. I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't seem right to me. 7.2. That seems like quite a good rating. Deals thinks that Noni was poor yesterday. He only had one chance. He gave it to Neto, but Neto missed it. He has problems with his decision-making. Good pressing and so direct, but we need to sell him. Wow, very interesting. People underestimate his tracking back, etc., which will add on to his score. Inside or outside dribblings all went wrong. Yeah, I mean, I think that score of 7.2 is probably a little bit high, actually. I don't know why he was given that score, especially reading what you guys are saying. I think that Madueke is a good player. I do think that he just needs to be a little bit more, what's the word? Let's think of it like this. We're 2-1 up. We're winning the game. Or we're going for goal. We've just had a moment. We had a shot. We maybe had a corner. Newcastle pass the ball out. They push up as well so that they're not too deep. Madueke receives the ball in a good position, and rather than driving up the defense, going in for a cross, or just maybe running in and trying to get a shot away, he decides to do a really sloppy pass, which I can't remember which player was running onto. And this is a real moment in the game, obviously. It went out for a goal kick. And it's those moments where I look at a player like Pedro Neto, for example, and I do think that his decision-making puts him above of Madueke at this moment of time in the pecking order. I need to see more from Madueke on the ball because, as a lot of people have said, including Enzo Maresca, who's given Madueke a lot of praise, off the ball, his tracking back has been good. He's been working hard. We can't doubt his hustle and what he's trying to bring to the team. Maybe it's a case of fitness then. I mean, if you're tired from tracking back, maybe you just need to do a little bit of extra fitness work. Not to sound harsh. I mean, I can't do what Madueke does, but you're playing for Chelsea. If you're struggling and once you've tracked back, you get back off the pitch, you're huffing and puffing, then maybe that's something that you need to address on your own privately, because there's nothing that we can tweak tactically. We know that you've got the ability to drive forward and cause problems. I always said Madueke is Chelsea's version of Doku. Yeah, loves to dribble. I think it's great to have a player that can dribble. But we need to see a little bit more offensively. I can agree with Fasal, who says, but offensively he was bad. And even defensively he caused, it's got a dangerous free kick just outside our box. To be honest, I can't even remember. But if he did do that, fair enough. I like Madueke. I think he should be dropped for the next game, the next Premier League game. I'd like to see. People are saying how good Sanchez was on the right for Dortmund. Maybe it's worth testing that out. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you think, guys. Do you think Madueke should be dropped, or is this just a one-off? I'm not sure. What did Madueke do to deserve this patience? We have so many players who can track back. Good point, Kevin. Any response to that, guys? Maresca slowly not playing Fernandez. Hopefully he will do the same with Sanchez. Players need to be dropped when they're out of form. Oh, yeah. Sanchez can't play against United. Good point. Right, let's move on. So we've spoken about the majority of positions, but there is one or two still to go. Now, woohoo! This is fun. I said to Gianfranco Zola, who was your man of the match for this game? Who do you think deserves man of the match? And you know what? Pull up the clip. Why not? Pull up the clip, Alex. Pull it up. Let's have it.
Channel. Did you enjoy the game?
Yeah, very much.
Favorite player today? Who was your man of the match?
No, was the man of the match. Number 20.
Number 20.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And also, we went to your the meetup you had in. Oh God, where was it, Nina? The meetup that you had where you took pictures with people and then you spoke.
Yeah.
Where was that?
I don't remember.
Fair enough. Well, good to see you anyway. Thanks for stopping by.
Fucking love you.
Number 20. Number 20. What a guy. I love Gianfranco. Oh, what a guy. And what a pleasant dude, man. Number 20. If you don't know who number 20 is, it's Cole Palmer, people. Kev says Palmer, duh. That's it, Kev. You let them know, man. But big up to Gianfranco Zola. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to play the rest of this clip anyway because it's funny.
There we go. Right. We're going to round out there. Benny, would you like to say anything to round out the video?
Oh, come on, man.
Come on, Benny. Benny, you weren't shy 5 minutes ago. What's happened?
Well, yeah, I am. I just love them. I lost my knickers.
Okay, we'll round it out there.
Nah, that's right. Anyway. What have we got?
What do you think? How long did you stay watching the game for?
Well, look, put it this way. I left.
Fucking left.
I didn't leave
Can
early.
you believe that?
But I was
He left after half time. My friend Cam, who was filming the game, went, Benny's in the pub. I was like, what? It's not even 70 minutes gone by. I couldn't believe it. But he was having a good time, but bless him, Benny.
I was dancing. I was confident today. I had my woo. Honestly, I was dancing.
Fair enough.
I knew Chelsea, we're back, boys. I'm telling you.
Benny, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Chelsea!
Good finish.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Big up to Benny. Big up to Gianfranco Zola. What a duo. Honestly. He's not a kid, by the way, guys. Let's just be very clear. Benny's an adult grown man. He's a little bit smaller, I know, but he is not a kid. He's about 26, 27 years old. So don't worry. There's no kid drinking on the street. It is an adult. A grown man, but yeah, Gianfranco Zola, he said it himself. Number 20. And listen, I mean, every week we talk about this guy. He's so good. He's so bloody good. Cole Palmer. Oh, I love him. I love Cole Palmer. What a player. If you love Cole Palmer, put it in the chat. Ice cold. If you love Cole Palmer, put it in the chat. Also, I just want to say to everyone as well, smash the like button, guys, if you are on here. It does help a lot. We've got about 50 of you in YouTube, and then I think about 325 on X. Smash the like button, guys. Can we get up to, I don't even know how many likes we're on. How many likes are we on, people? And also spam the cold emoji if you love Cole Palmer, because what a player. Just unbelievable, isn't he? He's fantastic. But yeah, let me know how many likes are on. And if you haven't smashed a like, please do. It helps a lot. I like doing these morning shows, but I mean, it just helps if I know that you like it as well. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. But yeah, big up to Kev, ice cold. Thank God for giving us Cole Palmer. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got our payback for De Bruyne. That pass he made yesterday to pick up Neto. Fantastic. But listen, that pass. Let's talk about that pass. Also, before we talk about that, let's speak about, so Enzo Maresca purposely played him. Oh, we got 20. Okay, we got 20 likes, guys. Can we double that? Can we get up to 40 likes, please? Can we get up to 40 likes? That does make a big difference. Just smash the like button. It takes a second. Really appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know as well, FaceApp. That pass was Messi-esque. Now, usually, maybe I'd say something like that, and people would go, Alex, you're talking rubbish. It wasn't Messi-esque. What are you talking about? Don agreed with me. Nina agreed with me. There is only one player in world football at his peak who can do that pass. Lionel Messi. And we have Cole Palmer in this team. What an honor it is to watch this guy every week. Deals is absolutely right. He's the best in the business. He is the business. This isn't the Premier League. This is the Cole Palmer League. He owns this league. Everything this guy does turns into gold. Like, he gives the ball away and then it turns into a pass for himself anyway. He does a flick, doesn't even see where it's going, and it turns into the perfect layoff. He's so good. He's so good. He's unbelievable. You cannot tell me anything about Cole Palmer without mentioning the word Ballon d'Or contender. Not this Ballon d'Or, but for the next Ballon d'Or. Cole Palmer, and I'm saying it right now, he will win a Ballon d'Or. If you keep this man fit, he will win a Ballon d'Or. He is that good. Man City, thank you. Thank you, Pep. Thank you to all the sheikhs at Man City, whatever it is. Thank you to Phil Foden for not allowing Cole Palmer to play enough at Man City so that he had to leave and come to us. Thank you. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Gareth Southgate for not playing Cole Palmer so that he was fresh when he come back to Chelsea. Because whatever happens, he does the business for us. He's so good. He's so young. He's got like a 10-year contract. Name me a player in world football with a 10-year contract. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. He's so good. He does do it at club and country level. I mean, I was only saying that because he didn't play for half the Euros. The point being that he saves it for Chelsea. That's what I meant. He's here forever. He is never leaving Chelsea. He loves Chelsea. He is Chelsea. I love Cole Palmer. That's all I have to say. I love Cole Palmer. You will not compare him to Saka because he is incomparable. Who is Saka? I don't even know who Saka is. When I see Cole Palmer on the pitch and Saka was playing next to him, I wouldn't even know who Saka is. There is such a difference in class between Cole Palmer and Bukayo Saka. Saka, listen, you can make Nando's, I think he's sponsored by Nando's or something. You can make videos with Nando's. Listen, Cole Palmer's busy making things happen on the pitch. Unbelievable player. He's so good. No, I'm not comparing him. You can't compare him. When Cole Palmer's on the pitch with Bukayo Saka, when we play Arsenal, it's like when you watch a group of 15-year-olds playing with a group of 10-year-olds. That's what Cole Palmer will make Arsenal look like. He's just a level ahead of everyone. They will not be able to contain him. They won't be able to do it. I know they're looking to find the bus. Where's the bus this time, Arteta? Where is the bus? But the thing is, it's not just about Palmer. We've spoken about Neto. We've spoken about Lavia. We've spoken about Kaiso. We've got Reece James back in the squad. We have one of the best left backs in the league with Cucurella. We got Nicholas Jackson. We've got so many good players in this team. Are you not entertained with what you see in this Chelsea side? Unbelievable. Don't you dare say that. That is horrible. And your name is the truth always wins as well, which that scares me a little bit that you made that comment. Don't say that, please. We're trying to have a good time. And I don't think they would take 200 mil for him, just to answer your question. I don't think they would. I'll tell you why. Because he's worth more. We want 500 mil if we're going to sell him. I want 500 million. Not for sale. Absolutely right. Huh? Proven winger? Cole's a proven winger. He was a winger last year. Palmer over Saka every day of the week. Dylan, I appreciate what you're saying, but we can't speak about Cole Palmer and Bukayo Saka in the same sentence and realistically think to ourselves that there's actually a comparison. Saka doesn't lace a boot of Cole Palmer. No chance. Yeah, so if you haven't already noticed, for those of you tuning in, I like Cole Palmer. He's pretty good, isn't he? He is pretty good. Okay. One more player that we saw starting in this game. The man, the myth. Wacko Jacko. That's what I like to call him. I have a friend that sat next to me called Steve. He sits in the East Stand at Chelsea. He didn't really like Jackson when he first came, so he called him Wacko Jacko. But now we do like him. But we still call him Wacko Jacko because it's a catchy name, isn't it? I think that since last season, the two most improved players in this team, you could argue three, Kaiso probably being the third most improved. I would say Jackson alongside Cucurella are the two most improved players at Chelsea since last season. When Jackson came in, he was nifty. He was great at making runs. He liked to drop deep at times. He was a good player. You could see that he was certainly very raw. And there was a lot of things that he didn't have. I don't think he had great hold-up play when he first came to Chelsea. I think that his hold-up play is so good now. It's improved tremendously. And he deserves every single bit of praise for what he's done in this team. He brings an energy that makes him undroppable. Because I said Nkunku should start this game against Newcastle. That's what I said. And it's not, I didn't say it in a malicious way because I don't like Nicholas Jackson. I just thought, a bit like Lavia, I wanted to see them on Wednesday for the away game because I knew we'd be dealing with a lot of pressure at St. James's Park. But Maresca went with Jackson again, and another great performance. It's unbelievable. He's very versatile as well. But in fairness, Maresca said he's not going to be playing him as a winger. He might do it, but that's not where he sees him. And respect for that. Like, you have a striker in there who is more than capable of holding his own. I've said it already. He will get more than 20 goals this season. He will. Absolutely. he has 20 Premier League goals for Chelsea, 22 in all competition. That's since he's arrived. Fair enough. But yeah, I've said this since the beginning. Like he was basically our replacement for Kai Havertz, and yeah, what an upgrade! What an absolute upgrade! He's a better player than Havertz. He's much better than what we had. I know Havertz has been better at Arsenal, but Nicholas Jackson is unbelievable, and he brings so much to this team. I love the fact that he's improving his finishing as well. It's not even just the hold-up play that he's improving. His finishing is improving. His shooting. He scored against Anfield. Scored against Liverpool at Anfield. Scored 2 against West Ham. Scored again today. This is Chelsea, people. Unbelievable. Well, you say that, no more Osimhen, but listen, we're trying to push for the title hopefully next season. I mean, the way we're going, then I would love to see a title charge next year. But we've got to be smart with what we do. The positions that really we need to worry about are centre-back. We need another centre-back that can play next to Levi Colwill. And we need another goalkeeper, or a competent goalkeeper. Maybe Jorgensen can be that player. But we haven't really had a chance to see him in the Premier League. So, yeah, I don't think Jackson's the big problem here, especially we've got Nkunku as well, mate. You've got to remember we've got quite a few, we've got a lot of depth. In the 10, we've got cover for Palmer with Felix, who scored 2 the other day. We've got lots of depth on the wing. Left backs, we've got Vega and Cucurella. Right backs, Gusto and James. Midfield is packed. Dewsbury Hall, Enzo Fernandez. We've got Ugachukwu, who's going to come back on loan. Kaiso, Lavia, Santos, Casady. Yeah, I mean, it might not be Victor Osimhen either. We might be looking at Victor Gyökeres, who we did actually send a bid in for just under a year ago in January, and it got rejected. It was about 80 million. Still got rejected, so incredible. Oh, pardon me. When you look at the recruitment, we have been fantastic. And I think that Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart, all of these guys, maybe they deserve a little bit more credit because they're the people that decided to go with Nicholas Jackson. And for that, they deserve all the praise. And I'm with them on that. I'm absolutely with them. I think that we need to trust what they're doing now. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see how else we can build out this team. Listen, guys, how many likes are we on? Can we get up to 50 likes on YouTube, please? Can we get 50 likes? Let's get up to 50. Can you even like things on Twitter, either on X? Is that even a thing? How do you like? I mean, I don't even watch Twitter live videos, to be fair. Do you do like a thumbs up? How does that work, guys? Let's get to 50 likes, guys. How many likes are we on at the moment as well? Big up to everyone. While we're waiting to see what the confirmation is on that, I just want to quickly give a shout out to the sponsors. Omeli, listen, don't worry. I'm not asking you to buy anything. You don't have to pay for it. It's totally free. There's a QR code there. You scan it. There's a link in the description on YouTube as well. If you're on X and you click on my profile, Omeli is pinned at the top of my profile. It's an app designed for football fans so that you can speak with other football fans. I will actually be going live on Omeli today with Nina at 3 o'clock UK time. So if you download the app, you can add me on Omeli. Me and Nina will be discussing the Newcastle game at around 3 o'clock UK time. We will be talking everything Chelsea as well. It's totally free. So don't worry, you don't have to pay for anything. Scan the QR code, which is here, to download the app. You can do it on an Android or an iPhone. There's also a link in the description. And join me and Nina later on at 3 o'clock to talk all things Chelsea. I'm I promise you, you won't regret it. It's a good app, and you can actually jump on and speak with us as well. So don't think you'll just be listening this time. If you want to come in and listen, you can. But if you want to join the conversation, you are able to do that as well. So download Omni. Let me know what you guys think about the app as well. And I hope to be speaking with you many more times on there throughout the coming months. But without further ado, listen, how many likes are on? Nobody's told me how many likes are on yet. Have we got to 50 likes? Have we got to 50? When am I next doing a call-in show? I will be doing a call-in show in 2 hours at 1 o'clock UK time. We will be doing a call-in show. So, yeah, I'll be doing a call-in show then. Elijah says we're on 61 likes. Big up to you, my friend. Thank you for letting me know, Elijah. 61. Can we get to 70? 70 before we round out the video. Just takes a little thumbs up. Fasal says Nina is a wonderful girl. You are absolutely right, my friend. She's fantastic, and she will be joining me on Omni later. What? Elijah says 61. Fasal says 20. Okay, 70 on YouTube. Oh, so you can like things on Twitter. Is this on X? I don't even know how it works. I have no idea how it works. Oh, well, big up to everyone anyway. Listen, I appreciate the support. Whether it's 20, 10, 100, whatever. I love it. And listen, one of the reasons that I decided to do more of these streams is because I feel like I haven't really been as involved with the channel as I would have liked to have been since I've taken it over. It's my 3rd year now running Chelsea Fan TV. But now I'm in a position where I can commit 100%. I mean, I still work full time, so don't think that this is how I pay my bills, because it's not. I work full time, but my hours allow me to do stuff in the mornings and in the daytime, and I just think that Chelsea Fan TV will benefit more from doing the lives. Let me know if you agree with that or if you disagree. Do you like it? Would you like to see more of it? But yeah, that's my stance on it. I think that's just the way everything's going, isn't it? People do live videos, and it's really hard for me to get my point across sometimes in 10 minutes. For example, I made that video on Enzo Fernandez a couple of weeks ago, and I got loads of hate for it. But now everyone agrees with me. So I wasn't wrong, was I? But it's a lot easier for me to communicate what I actually think. I mean, we're an hour and 28 minutes in. So I'm not going to be able to say as much in 10 minutes on a normal video as I am in an hour and a half stream. But also, guys, you will have the opportunity to speak as well on the channel. You can jump on the call-in show, which is in 2 hours, or you can come on 3 o'clock and speak to me and Nina. For the call-in show, it will just be me again, unless somebody else jumps in, maybe Charlie or something. But if you want to speak to me and Nina, again, scan the QR code, download Omni. It's free, and you can speak with football fans. Robbie's on there from AFTV. They've got some big names on there, to be fair. So let's represent the Chelsea community. How about that? I'll answer a couple of questions and then I'll round it out there. So if you've got any questions, just put them in. Do I think that Neto should be starting over Madueke in the Prem? I think yes, as Noni is way too inconsistent, in my opinion. Yes, I agree with you, Alfie. I do think that Neto should probably start ahead of Madueke at this moment in time. However, let's not take away from the fact that Madueke has still been okay. He's not been bad. But yes, the standard is getting higher, and okay is no longer acceptable in a lot of ways. We can't accept okay. We have to accept good or very good. And Madueke wasn't great yesterday. And he certainly needs to improve. So I'm with you there. But if we have Neto on the left side, then you're looking at competition between Sancho, Neto, and Mudryk on the left, or maybe you're moving Sancho onto the right side. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Also, would you prefer us in January to sign Osimhen, Gyökeres, or none? In terms of, is that an actual player, or are you saying none? Did you misspell none? I'm going to look it up quickly. Otherwise, I feel like a bit of an idiot. Okay. Yes, you meant no one. No, I'd probably prefer Gyökeres, to be honest with you. I think that he suits the system a little bit more. I like Osimhen. I think Osimhen's a good player. I think we could probably get a better wage structure with Gyökeres. Doesn't seem like he has a big ego like what Osimhen has. I think if he did, he probably would have tried to force a move in January, for example. But he seems to be quite happy where he is. I'm sure he might have even signed a new contract in Portugal. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Gyökeres. I think he suits the system. I think he's a good goal scorer as well. And he won't cause problems in the dressing room, which I think Osimhen might do. So that is one thing to think about as well. But yeah, I mean, that's my stance on it. But listen, guys, I'm going to round it out there. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you haven't already. If you want to see more of the live content, let me know. And I just want to say thank you to everyone on X and YouTube for watching this video. And we will be back at 1 o'clock UK time for the live call-in show. All the best, guys, and let's catch up very, very soon.